Yo, what's up? My name is Patrouski, and I'm so happy to finally bring you guys some news on Pokeforce. If you don't know, Pokeforce was a big up-and-coming Pokemon MMO that brought together elements from things like Stardew Valley, RuneScape, and obviously PokeMMO or other Pokemon MMOs. They've been working on this game for, I think, a year or two now, and there's been a lot of, to put it nicely, a lot of development hell, I think, type situations. Maybe development hell adjacent might be the best way to put it. There is a lot of work and a lot of problems that come up with making a Pokemon MMO. A lot of people think that it is just copying and pasting and, plopping and placing. And that is obviously and clearly not how it works, because otherwise people would be pumping them out a lot easier, right? So Pokeforce has been running into a lot of those problems. I have some good news and I have some bad news. I'm going to go over everything in great detail. This is their first ever development diary on the Discord itself. They have actually swapped from their forums over to their Discord, which I think is honestly a lot better. It's a lot more direct, and you can actually communicate with them, with developers themselves, a lot better. So there's a lot of positives and negatives there. To sum some of these things up, they are having to, we'll get to it in a quick sec, but to my understanding, they are having to rewrite the game again in a third different engine. This is honestly the worst news in my opinion. They've had to rewrite this game a ton, which is really unfortunate. It's just they keep running into engine problems. I have no idea what it's like to be a game developer. I can't imagine all the trials and tribulations, but it's not news you want to hear as players and not news you want to give as the developers. The positive is that they talked about snapshots being available for the game in early 2026 and letting players try it out once again and kind of see what's happening, kind of find some bugs and help them in that development process. So let's just start reading through their dev diary and talk about what's happening with Pokeforce. This is from Alicia. Alicia, welcome Pokeforce. Forewarning, this is our very first dev diary via Discord. I'd like to first apologize for any formatting errors as well as potential edits that were sure to come in the following up this post. First off, welcome back. We know it's been a long time since our spring demo. This is from, I don't think this was this year. I think it was last year. Maybe it was spring of 2025. To be fair, time has been moving very quickly. We've all been wanting to see you return to the Pokeforce as soon as possible. For that, we thank you for your continued support, but we acknowledge it as a reminder that when you ask us how the game is coming, our belief that all the time we're spending means a lot, not only to us, but you, the community. We've been spending a fair amount of time on going over our core with a fine-tooth comb and ensuring the game will be stable and enjoyable for years to come, not only in terms of gameplay, but from a development point of view. I'm going to take a quick break for a second just to talk about the biggest benefit, in my opinion, of Pokeforce in general is just the dev team. The dev team has continuously shown that they, in my opinion, have the best mentalities when it comes to building a game, and they will let the players know, hey, things are not going great, we're running into these problems, but we're gonna fucking fix them. We're gonna put our boots on the ground and actually put in the work, and we're also gonna communicate that to you along the way. Some people may not have the patience for that, like some players, and I get that, but I'm okay with, seeing those players not experience the beauty of Pokeforce, and I will be here rooting for Pokeforce every step of the way and just excitedly waiting for this game to be released. So let's continue onward. We posted previously about how we're switching from our core code to Rust. I'm happy to report that this is an endeavor that has not only been successful, but has also boosted developer productivity to new heights that were unimaginable with our old core. There's a lot of things to cover. I hope you have your favorite cup of tea from #TeamMafia, just a little cutesy little meme. The core. The first bit of modernization for Pokeforce has been rewriting our core in Rust. I assume it's a different developer language. Once again, apologies for any misconceptions. I am not familiar with proper game development. I like game balancing. I like playing games, but I'm just a gamer, a player. I'm not really a developer. We mentioned in a prior development blog that after reflecting on our Java server, we think going with a low-level language such as Rust with a solution to building long-term products that expands not only for just Pokeforce, but our multiplayer games in the future. I'm happy to report that I think this remains a very valid statement, considering how quick it was for us to get back to a core sense of a video game's server architecture, but also start introducing content. Once the development team finishes their summer breaks, we've been adding infrastructure and content at a rapid rate that outpaces our old development sprints. For how this will look, we hope that you will just see the difference between our weekly content updates versus other Pokemon MMOs when we finally do our launch. So this is kind of like throwing shots a little bit, and not really. I don't want to overhype it, but like it's kind of like, hey, we're gonna be updating the game every week. Like that's what they're Pokeforce is really aiming to be a fresh new take on a Pokemon MMO. They don't really want to be this old school MMO. They don't really want to be as grindy as others while still remaining, I assume grindy to some degree and like still competitive and all these things, but they want things to be fresh. They want things to be exciting. They want to do things that other games have not done, which is very ambitious, and I'm excited to see what they do. We've had questions and concerns raised in the past, particularly Rust won't solve your problems, it'll just make them worse. While this statement isn't entirely true, it isn't particularly false either. Once again, I really like this. I like that the devs are like, hey, the players have concerns and they're legitimate, but let me explain like why we're also making that decision. It's been a bit of a brain tease for our development team to switch from object-oriented language to something with a bit more of a complex syntax and ECS architecture. No idea what that means. Too smart for me. But the entire development team as a whole has been able to catch on at a more rapid rate than one would spend dealing with the boilerplate that the OOP provides. For precise examples, we have given Banoon the green light to write our battle engine in Rust, and is currently now in a feature development tested environment. Now, that was the biggest problem during the last test of Pokeforce, was their battle engine. There was things like the battles just not starting, you just not being able to take your actions, like your turns. Like it was honestly a big wake-up call, because so many people think of it as, once again, so easy to make a Pokemon MMO, but people couldn't do the fights. Like people couldn't do one of the most basic elements of Pokemon was having massive problems on Pokeforce, the battle engine, to be honest with you, you know? Furthermore, the game server has just been pushed into its content development testing environment, and we're pushing boundaries that outpaced our spring demo, despite the shorter amount of development time spent on the project. Devices. With the production of a new game core, we've also been greenlighting ourselves to work with new concepts we've been putting off in order to establish foundations. For example, we spent a ton of time establishing core concepts such as interacting with nodes, so mining rocks, cuttable trees, entering doorways, etc. They want to do a lot of skilling in Pokeforce, which I'm really excited for as a big RuneScape nerd. But now that we've envisioned and written code for these particular elements of the game, we don't know that we need to spend so much time researching these concepts anymore, and can focus on providing support for devices such as the Steam Deck, Android mobile phones, tablets, and other devices. We're happy to announce that Pokeforce will be supported on both of these operating systems and platforms, beginning with our first snapshot. Wow! I didn't read that part. That's a big deal. Pokeforce will be supported on both of these operating systems. They'll be really... Pokeforce will be available on Steam Deck and Android mobile phones during their snapshots. That's what's so like, usually snapshots, like, you don't want to have to worry. That's really interesting. You don't want to have to worry about establishing them on different platforms. It's just about like getting some of the core player base to test things. That's really interesting. To have that available for tests and for snapshots is really crazy. Let's talk about it. Snapshots. We've also briefly touched on snapshots, but our hope and focus is that when we enter a rapid development cycle, we can simply drop a client update that will connect you to the latest game server and allow you to continuously test the game along to the dedicated beta program. This will open avenues such as the market systems, quests, system story, and beyond as well. We truly want you to experience the game leading up to its launch, so that when we do pull the trigger, we as a collective know that the game is in the best spot it possibly can be. It's really important to get an MMO healthy and balanced and right before it releases, because once it releases, the market and like supply and demand and like people getting resources, like you can't take that back, right? Like once people start selling things for crazy amount, you know, if there's some bug or glitch, you can get max cash, like that could ruin the game. You have to like restart from scratch. So you have to be very, very careful. There's a market at play. You can expect snapshots to start somewhere in early 2026. We are working with our beta program to ensure that we're doing things properly every step of the way. Beta program, I'm happy to report that our beta program will be opening applications by the end of the month. So you actually can play Pokeforce in this like basically private beta is the best way to explain it. You have to be over 18 years old, legally able to sign an NDA. You have to follow an NDA when it comes to the Pokeforce beta. And have played a previous demo of Pokeforce and have somewhat experience with playing games at a testing capacity. We're very, very excited with where Pokeforce is going. Our development cycles are more direct. Our teams are more focused with their tasks. We've never been more cohesive as a unit. The spring demo has taught us most of what we needed to learn. We've been focused on those score points since the start of the summer. I hope to be showing you all more of what we have planned and have in development to lead up to our first snapshot. But for now, thank you all for your support. The team puts their best step forward every single day for you all, and we cannot wait to provide you with the best Pokemon MMO experience ever. Furthermore, I'd like to commit to posting these types of updates monthly from here out. That's amazing. Once again, this is why I'm really excited for Pokeforce. Like, it's tough because they haven't. I don't say they haven't done anything yet. That's not true. They're doing things, but they haven't put out a product yet. But they are saying all the right things, and that's why I really believe in Pokeforce. Now, it's maybe when the game comes out, I'll be like, you know what, Pokeforce was saying all the right things, but they didn't do all the right things. I don't. Hopefully, it's not the case. I don't want to expect that. Right? I think I'm excited for it. You know. Let's continue on though. Expect another dev post like this one in a few weeks about our Lua content system and how that speeds up development from a simplistic point of view. And then just some thank yous and stuff like that, dude. So that's the Pokeforce news. They show a little screenshot here as well. That is the Pokeforce news as I'm aware. We're keeping an eye on it. I think 2026 we'll keep an eye out for more snapshots and sort of early beta samples of the game to test things, and we'll play those along the way and keep an eye on. But game development is a tricky puzzle to solve. I can only imagine. I think Pokeforce is doing a great job, and I'm just excited to see what they've come up with so far. So I will see you guys in early 2026. Hopefully I'll see you online on the servers. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. Like this video if you enjoyed it, want to see more Pokeforce stuff. Subscribe to stay up to date on Pokeforce and other Pokemon MMOs. My Discord's down below. You can go above me on and support my channel, support my content with YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal and Venmo donations. If you want to stay up to date with Pokeforce on your own time, you can also just join their Discord, which should be linked down below. If it's not, you can yell at me in the comments. And other than that, have a great day. I will see you guys later. Peace, Reno.